Do you think finding a treasure means lighting up gold coins? Well, get ready to see the most unusual findings that will completely change your definition of treasure in our world. In the depths of the waters of Papua New Guinea lies a mysterious submarine that kept its secrets for more than a century. The AE-1, the first Australian submarine and the first Allied submarine lost in World War I, was finally discovered in 2017 after disappearing without a trace in 1914. Surprisingly, the wreck was mapped with astonishing detail using high-tech Airbus, revealing clues about its final moments and allowing researchers to create an intricate 3D model of this historic time capsule. In the depths of a frozen swamp, an official search team made a remarkable wartime discovery that had been preserved for decades. The wooden boxes they recovered contained thousands of World War II ammunition cartridges perfectly sealed, untouched by time under the ice. This historic finding, although impressive, required careful handling by the team, which follows strict protocols to ensure that potentially hazardous materials remain in the forest or are properly deactivated before being moved to museums. An Australian family made history by finding the world's oldest message in a bottle, tossed into the ocean 132 years ago from a German sailing ship. The extraordinary find, which had been thrown by the Horde in June 1886, contained a handwritten note asking the discoverer to contact the German consulate, and its authenticity was confirmed by the logbooks found in the German archives. This bottle was part of a massive oceanographic study involving thousands of bottles, of which only 662 messages had been recovered, but never with their original bottles intact until this discovery. In the crystal clear waters off the coast of Croatia, a haunting reminder of the final days of World War II was found. A powerful B-17 Flying Fortress bomber rests perfectly preserved 72 meters below the surface, forced to make a dramatic water landing when its last engine failed just before reaching safety. The most intriguing aspect of this underwater time capsule is that the crew managed to survive the landing, floating for 20 minutes before the enormous aircraft finally slipped beneath the waves. Under layers of earth, a team of metal detectors discovered an ancient storage chamber sealed with a clay lid of intricate design. Hidden inside this mysterious vault and containing a spectacular collection of gold and silver jewelry with ancient coins, carefully preserved over the centuries. The elaborate nature of the hiding place and the valuable contents suggest that it was not a simple storage location, but rather a deliberately hidden treasure intended to protect the valuable riches during turbulent times. Somewhere deep in the forests of Washington state, an old and dusty barn holds an automotive treasure that would quicken the heart of any car collector. Inside this modest structure is an impressive collection of classic American muscle cars from the 60s and 70s, including the rare Plymouth GTX, the Pontiac GTO, and the pristine Dodge Challenger. What makes this barn find truly exceptional is that many of these vehicles are limited editions with powerful V engines, which makes this forgotten collection potentially worth millions to the right buyers, following proper restoration, of course. Off the Swedish coast, some divers have made an interesting discovery. Perfectly preserved by the cold waters of the Baltic, a 19th century shipwreck revealed not only 100 bottles of vintage champagne but also rare clay bottles of mineral water shelters, a drink so valued it was considered medicine and served at royal tables. That the mineral water producer, identified by the clay bottle markings dating from 1950 to 1960, is still operating today, creates a direct link to this luxurious cargo from the past. Just inside ancient rocky walls lies an extraordinary discovery that challenges our understanding of prehistoric human ingenuity. This extraordinary 16,000-year-old dwelling, carved directly into solid rock, features multiple rooms. One area dedicated to the fireplace, all meticulously crafted with primitive tools. What is truly fascinating is how this ancient refuge has survived millennia, providing a rare insight into the sophisticated architectural capabilities of our distant ancestors. After 30 years of fossil hunting, this explorer struck gold with what he calls the best deposit of megalodon teeth ever discovered. The untouched site yielded an incredible haul of 17 complete megalodon teeth in just 1 week, and some specimens barely needed excavation to come to life. The abundance of prehistoric bones scattered across the site is a telltale sign of these ancient marine predators, making this untouched territory a fossil hunter's dream come true. In an eerie inlet of the Priyat River lies a fleet of ghostly ships forever anchored in the shadow of the Chernobyl disaster. These ships and barges, once vital tools in the cleanup effort after the nuclear disaster, now rest in their watery grave near the former shipyard repair facilities. Although time has largely cleansed them of their radioactive contamination, these rusted hulls are silent witnesses to one of the most devastating environmental catastrophes in history. In the middle of a forest, a metal detector's dream came true when his detector pointed to something extraordinary. Under an ancient rockslide hidden beneath the stones lay 2 pristine gold nuggets alongside 2 intricate golden figures with the unmistakable craftsmanship of the Inca civilization. The location and circumstances of this remarkable find suggest that it could have been an Inca cache deliberately hidden or lost in time when the rocky outcrop collapsed centuries ago. Hidden in an abandoned missile silo lies a strange discovery that once would have been worth a fortune. Historians exploring ancient Soviet military facilities stumbled upon billions of Soviet-era rubles stuffed in an underground chamber. Although these bills are now worthless as currency, they create an unsettling monument to the collapse of an empire that was likely disposed of in the early 1990s, when they became obsolete. In the middle of Death Valley, some botanists searching for rare plants stumbled upon a lost piece of Cold War history. The discovered remains were identified as a Grumman Ru-16 Albatross, a CIA plane that crashed in January 1952 during a classified mission from Idaho to San Diego. What makes this discovery particularly intriguing is that, although the 6 crew members miraculously survived by parachuting, the remains of the plane remained hidden in the Panamint Mountains for more than 68 years before being rediscovered. After generations of searching and countless failed expeditions, Oak Island finally revealed some of its legendary secrets to the persistent treasure hunters. The latest excavations unearthed an impressive collection of ancient gold coins and an ornate golden vessel hidden for centuries beneath the island's mysterious soil. This remarkable discovery validates the countless stories and theories that have surrounded this enigmatic island, although many believe that perhaps only the surface is being scratched of what is still buried beneath it. In Behind Hours of Undergrowth 1, abandoned airfield, these people found a forgotten graveyard of Soviet-era planes. The location holds the stripped remains of several aircraft, including helicopters, Mi, Yak-52, and Yoka, whose exposed frames silently narrate the untold stories of their days in the sky. Now, this discovery has been slowly reclaimed by nature, with vegetation growing through and around these abandoned flying machines. Using cutting-edge technology like Google Earth and D-radar exploration, some explorers discovered an extraordinary cache of 800-year-old treasures hidden inside a mountain range. The discovered collection included various metal bracelets and other accessories that showcase the remarkable craftsmanship of an ancient civilization skilled in metallurgy. The team found a carved stone turtle with a characteristic hole in its head, a mysterious marker that led them to this precious collection buried deep in the earth. In Alaska's harsh desert, a monument to failed ambition was found, the legendary last train to nowhere. This abandoned railway equipment, which includes 3 locomotives and 19 cars, has been slowly rusting since 1913, when a devastating storm destroyed the Solomon River Bridge, leaving them permanently stranded 40 kilometers from Nome. These trains never made a single trip on their intended 215 kilometers route from Dixon to the Council City mines, as the railway company went bankrupt in 1907, leaving them frozen in time as silent sentinels of the gold rush era in Alaska. Deep within a mountain, a group of explorers unearthed a disturbing relic from World War II, a long-forgotten weapon that had remained hidden for many decades. Surprisingly, although time and the elements had already taken most of the metallic components of the weapon, its wooden handle remained preserved underground, although the mystery of how and why this weapon was buried here may never be fully resolved. In the Philippines, some treasure hunters literally found gold by discovering 3 enormous gold jars filled with precious treasures. The remarkable find included not only the ornate vessels themselves, but also contained 15 smaller gold ingots, 1 large gold nugget hidden inside. Each vessel tells its own story of ancient wealth and craftsmanship, raising intriguing questions about who buried these valuable artifacts and why they never returned to claim them. Hidden in France, an extraordinary barn houses a forgotten collection of historical vehicles spanning multiple eras of war and transportation. Among the notable finds are military equipment from before World War II, a dilapidated interwar bus that still bears its Bill Versailles Hotel sign, and even a German flag 88 anti-aircraft gun. The most fascinating aspect of this discovery is how it encompasses a complete chronology of the history of transportation, from horse-drawn carriages to World War I shells, all preserved under the same roof. In the middle of the Ukrainian region of Kharkiv lies a surreal spectacle, dozens of abandoned planes scattered across an empty field. This forgotten airfield, once a bustling training facility, now houses over 30 aircraft, including L-29 training jets, Mi-2 and Mi-8 helicopters, and M2 planes, many still containing fuel from when abandoned in the 1990s. Time and scavengers have taken their toll on these proud machines of yesteryear, but they remain as relics of past eras of aeronautical training. After hours of careful excavation, the treasure hunters unearthed an extraordinary box containing 8 ancient vessels filled with valuable artifacts. Inside these carefully preserved containers, the explorers discovered a large amount of ancient coins and golden ornaments, suggesting that it was an intentionally hidden stash from a long time ago. The numerous and varied treasures in the vessels suggest someone was desperate to protect their wealth, raising the question of what historical events might have motivated such careful concealment. In the vast Egyptian desert of Al-Wadi al-Hadid, a team of oil prospectors stumbled upon an incredibly well-preserved Curtiss Kidho fighter plane from World War II, which had only been touched by sand and sun since 1942. The aircraft, identified as Kithab Kia at 574 of the 260 Squadron of the RAF, disappeared during a ferry flight with Flight Sergeant Dennis Copen at the controls, who was last seen flying off course with damaged landing gear. What makes this discovery special is that the plane has been perfectly preserved in the desert for decades, serving as a monument to a fallen pilot who was never seen again. During a mushroom hunting expedition in a suburb of Moscow, a man made the surreal and unexpected discovery of a submarine right in the middle of a swamp. Although at first glance it seemed completely authentic, this smaller-scale vessel turned out to be an elaborate marketing installation created by a construction company to attract investors to a new development, which, by the way, was a resounding success. Here in Georgia, the man found an extraordinary car cemetery known as All Car City, where nearly 4,000 classic vehicles rest in the forest. This 12,000-hectare time capsule, which started as a scrapyard in 1931, has become a treasure of rare vehicles, including pristine Plymouth, Superbirds, vintage Ford Mustangs, and even classic European cars, many of which still contain the personal belongings of their original owners. The most fascinating thing is how nature has slowly reclaimed these mechanical relics from the 50s and 70s, creating a beautiful fusion of automotive history and wild nature that has become an unlikely tourist attraction. In the crystal clear waters of Cozumel, a fascinating piece of military history was found. The Felipe Zigatenko C-53, a former U.S. Navy minesweeper from World War II that later served in the Mexican Navy. After a 37-year career protecting the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea, this 60 meters vessel was sunk in 2000 to create an artificial reef. One diving attraction today, this majestic wreck rests 25 meters below the surface. Its corridors now patrolled by schools of tropical fish instead of sailors. In the black sands of southern Iceland lies an otherworldly sight, the ghostly remains of a Douglas Super DC-3, its twisted metal frame against the volcanic landscape. This American military plane, a symbol of aviation's golden age, made its final landing on November 21, 1973, miraculously leaving the 7 crew members unharmed. The most surprising thing is that this perfectly preserved time capsule now serves as a mysterious monument, attracting photographers from all over the world to capture its haunting beauty in Iceland's dramatic landscape. Here, the explorer Ben discovered an abandoned cruise ship in Florida that seems frozen in time, with its corridors and cabins still filled with the passengers' belongings hastily left behind. The ship was suddenly evacuated 3 years ago following a Legionellosis outbreak, leaving behind an eerily preserved snapshot of cruise life, including a fully equipped casino with poker chips still scattered across the gaming tables. The ship's owners decided it would be cheaper to abandon it than to decontaminate it, something local dockworkers now avoid due to disturbing rumors about its past. In December 1980, the Wrestleham Forest in Suffolk became the site of Britain's most famous UFO incident, when military personnel reported seeing strange lights. Triangular craft with mysterious hieroglyphs. The event, witnessed by high-ranking officials, consisted of multiple sightings of inexplicable lights that apparently emitted beams towards the ground near the RAF base in Woodwright. Although scientists later attributed the lights to bright stars, the legacy of the incident endures through a commemorative sculpture installed in the forest that marks this mysterious encounter that has captivated UFO enthusiasts for decades. On the shores of the Piolovsky Reservoir, a disturbing relic of the Cold War was found. The command tower of the legendary K-19, the first nuclear ballistic missile submarine of the Soviet Union. This ill-fated vessel, nicknamed Hiroshima, after surviving 3 serious incidents, including a near-catastrophic nuclear disaster in 1961, now serves as a powerful memorial created by Vladimir Romanov, a former crew member who witnessed the unfolding of history. The most remarkable thing is that the final resting place of this submarine honors the 32 brave sailors who received doses of radiation while preventing a nuclear catastrophe that could have triggered World War III. Right in an ancient cemetery, a caretaker found a mysterious hollow tree that holds secrets of an ancient funerary tradition dating back several generations. This extraordinary funerary tree was specially carved to serve as a final resting place, where the ashes of the deceased were deposited, along with silver coins and jewelry to ensure a safe passage to the afterlife. Perhaps the most moving discovery is that the original caretaker planted these trees, placing coins inside them for those too poor to afford proper funeral rites, creating a living monument that has endured 4 generations. After more than a century lost beneath the Antarctic waters, the legendary ship Endurance was found in an icy tomb, perfectly preserved 3,000 meters below the surface of the Weddell Sea. This incredible discovery marks the end of a 107-year-old mystery surrounding the famous polar expedition of Ernest Shackleton, in which the ship became trapped in the ice in 1915 before making its final descent to the ocean floor. Surprisingly, the icy Antarctic waters have preserved the wooden ship in an almost pristine state, with its name still clearly visible on the stern, serving as a time capsule of one of the greatest stories in history. In a remote field in Kazakhstan, explorers unearthed a time capsule, a perfectly preserved Moxby 412 car from the 80s, buried intact underground. This Soviet-era vehicle, although stripped of paint over time, emerged from its earthen garage with its original parts still intact and, incredibly, its tires still able to hold air. And although the interior had succumbed to decay, the car proved to be resilient enough to be successfully recovered from its unusual underground parking location. These divers discovered in the Red Sea the legendary SS Trictorshore, a British World War II freighter that has become the most famous underwater museum in the entire world. This enormous 125 meters warship, sunk by German bombers in 1941, holds an extraordinary cargo, including BCA motorcycles from the era, still in neat rows as if waiting for their riders. The most surprising thing is that after 80 years underwater, these machines remain incredibly well preserved, with their tires and windows intact, creating an eerie time capsule of wartime history beneath the waves. On a remote polar island in the Barents Sea, explorers discovered an extraordinary capsule from an abandoned military site with a lineup of Soviet-era vehicles, including Sil trucks, UAS Siguli, and Sapporo's cars preserved by the Arctic climate. What truly made this discovery extraordinary was finding a fully stocked bunker nearby that contained enough preserved supplies to sustain someone for months. This place, a former command post of an S-75 surface-to-air missile battery active until the mid-1990s, was likely abandoned with vehicles and supplies intact due to the high costs of evacuating such a remote location. After 64 years underwater, the legendary 2,476 tank was finally recovered from its watery grave, where it had sunk through the ice during the intense battles of 1944. The tank, discovered in an almost vertical position, with the turret pointing towards the shore and covered with thick silk and aquatic plants, required months of careful legal work and technical preparation before it could be recovered. The accounts of local residents helped confirm the story that the tank had accidentally ventured into icy waters while facing German forces attempting to break through the Korsun-Shepsenovsky pocket, and previous attempts to recover it during wartime had failed. In the remote Arctic waters near the Tixi outposts on Brusnet Island, a collection of abandoned ships was found, trapped in the perpetual ice of Dvorkaya Bay. Among the frozen hulls lie not only numerous ships, but also the remains of two crashed planes. It is believed that one is a lead plane with square windows and the other resembles an An-2. The most intriguing thing is that some believe this maritime graveyard may contain the remains of the legendary Yad Zarya, although the perpetual ice covering the bay for most of the year makes verification difficult. On a quiet Japanese beach in Hamamatsu, a mysterious iron sphere appeared, leaving all the locals and authorities completely baffled. This perfectly round metallic object with two puzzling handles sparked theories ranging from espionage devices to dragon eggs, leading bomb disposal experts to conduct thorough X-ray analyses. Although experts now believe it might be a simple mooring mark, its sudden appearance and unknown origin have transformed this mundane object into an international mystery that captivated the attention of media outlets worldwide. This mysterious 77 meters long freighter made headlines when it appeared on the Irish coast in February, after having been adrift without a crew in the Atlantic Ocean for more than a year. The strange journey of the ship began in September 2018, when its 10-person crew was evacuated near Bermuda due to technical problems, leaving the ship adrift in international waters. But the most intriguing thing is that its owner and its cargo remain unknown, even after it was visited by the HMS Protector of the British Royal Navy. During his long journey following the Gulf Stream, passing through Africa and Spain before finally reaching Ireland, this explorer found in a dense forest a remarkable piece of railway history, Locomotive 50,301, a forgotten giant of the Romanian state railways. Built in 1928, this impressive machine, a Romanian copy of the Prussian G10 freight locomotive, made its last journey to Falkenberg, Germany, where it now rests. Surrounded by mismatched tenders from Reichsbach Alaman Class 50 locomotives, this steel giant still retains its original tender, a rare complete example of interwar European railway engineering. Frozen in time. In a bay of the Solomon Islands lies the Ems World Discoverer, a truly unique cruise ship whose final voyage ended dramatically on April 30th in the year 2000. This 7-deck vessel, built in 1975, with ice-breaking capability for polar expeditions, met its fate when it struck an unexplored reef near Onira. Though Captain Oliver Crest heroically saved all the passengers, his attempt to preserve the ship led to its resting place in Broderick Bay, where it lies at an eerie 45-degree angle just 20 meters from the shore, slowly surrendering to the Pacific odds. Here, at an impressive 2,700 meters above sea level in the Alps, is an extraordinary fortress of the Maginot Line. Intact for 90 years since the mountain battles, this incomplete artillery fortress designed to guard the Rex-Fun Pass still holds its secrets in its flood-damaged chambers, from massive diesel engines in bunkers to the frames of soldiers' beds. Though modern graffiti marks Luther's Passage, the fortress's original electrical systems and furniture remain intact, silently telling stories of its wartime past. After 15 years of accumulating secrets, the famous St. Martin Canal in Paris revealed its extraordinary underwater museum during a spectacular 3-month drainage operation. This beloved tourist destination yielded a remarkable collection of urban artifacts buried in thick mud, from old motorcycles and countless bicycles to shopping carts and antique radios. The last cleaning of this popular canal in 2001 yielded 40 tons, showing how this picturesque waterway had become a repository of decades of Parisian life. In the heart of southern Idaho lies El Classic Auto, an extraordinary automotive sanctuary that began as one man's humble body shop over 50 years ago. Larry Harm's passion for collecting cars went from a small urban lot to a vast museum in the desert, after municipal authorities deemed his growing collection a monstrosity. The most incredible thing is that this vast collection still holds some of Larry's first acquisitions, now rare classics weathering in the sun, making it a paradise for enthusiasts seeking parts for all types of vehicles, from muscle cars to vintage imports. These explorers discovered a treasure chamber that seemed straight out of an ancient legend, filled with gleaming Buddhist statues, containers of precious metals. Incredible collection of ancient gold coins. This mysterious vault, possibly an ancient offering room or treasure storage, contained invaluable artifacts, such as ornate gold jewelry and clay vessels still sealed in their original chests. These treasures were methodically arranged, suggesting that it was not a hastily hidden stash, but rather a deliberately selected collection of great cultural and religious significance. In the middle of the Vietnamese desert, the rescuers discovered a TMT truck that nature had slowly begun to reclaim. Despite years of exposure to the elements and the thick underbrush surrounding it, the vehicle remained surprisingly salvageable. Notably, the examination revealed that, with proper restoration, this forgotten piece of machinery could return to the road, demonstrating the impressive durability of these utility trucks. In this forest, the seekers of Z stumbled upon an otherworldly spectacle, the incredibly rare Cortinarius violaceus, a mushroom of such a vivid purple color that it seems almost alien to our planet. This uncommon mushroom, a distant cousin of common mushrooms, is so rare that it has almost earned a place in the Red Book of Threatened Species. Despite its alarming color, this unique mushroom is actually edible, although its rarity makes it more valuable as a protected species than as a culinary ingredient. During a routine dive, this lucky individual discovered an extraordinary piece of Canadian history, an Alexander Kidd beer bottle from the 1870s with its original contents still sealed inside. This incredible find, dating back to when Canada was barely a nation, bears the original ink marks on its preserved cork and contains what appears to be the oldest Kidd beverage bottle in the world to be preserved. This 120-year-old bottle, originating from English manufacturers who imported it to Canada between 1872 and 1890, still retains its liquid, though its discoverer wisely decided not to taste this ancient beverage. In the Pacific Ocean, the diver Matt discovered something extraordinary, an $18,000 Rolex Submariner that not only survived but was still functioning. This waterproof watch, lost during an SUV accident in 2019, demonstrated its legendary durability by continuing to function perfectly after 4 years underwater. The most touching part was the reunion through social media. The watch reached Rick, who had received it from his father as an 18th birthday gift for winning a sailing regatta in 1971, making it not only a recovered watch but a restored piece of family history. In Belgium, an urban explorer stumbled upon a surreal spectacle. An abandoned airplane hangar turned out to be a vintage gaming paradise, filled with classic arcade machines. The enormous space contained an impressive collection of gaming equipment, from poker tables and roulette wheels to several electronic game cabinets with cathode ray tube screens, probably collected from various defunct casinos in the Liege region, but it is still unknown why it was perfectly preserved in the improbable setting of an aviation facility. This explorer discovered a perfectly preserved refrigerated train from the Soviet era. Although rust claims the exterior, the residential car remains remarkably intact, with the bed still made with their original mattresses, the kitchen shelves lined with crockery, and personal artifacts scattered as if the crew had just left. The most incredible thing is that the train's huge diesel engines and generators, though silent, still remain in place, creating a complete snapshot of Soviet mobile life frozen in time. In the eerie ghost town 18 kilometers from Vorkuta, Russia, winter has claimed an entire community in the most spectacular way. After a pipe burst that flooded an apartment building in February 2013, temperatures of -50 °C transformed everyday scenes into a glacier, chandeliers wrapped in frost, and ordinary household objects trapped in thick layers of ice. Now, this frozen time capsule honors the 5,200 former city residents who left when the cement factory closed in the early 2000s. In the crystal-clear lagoons of Saipan, divers discovered an underwater museum of World War II history, including a perfectly preserved LBT amphibious tank, Mariana's model that was resting in its watery grave. This battle-scarred vehicle is part of an extraordinary collection of war artifacts sunk in the fierce Battle of Saipan in 1944, including Japanese planes, American bombers, and German tanks. Now, these war machines rest in shallow tropical waters as a unique underwater museum of one of the most important battles of the Pacific War. In some part of the Swedish forests of Barum, a mysterious car cemetery was found containing more than 500 vintage cars from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, many of which are believed to be abandoned American military vehicles from World War II. The place, owned by two brothers who allow photographers but strictly prohibit removing anything, has become an unusual spot for car enthusiasts and artists drawn to its eerie atmosphere. On his birthday at Mendocino Beach, 5-year-old Ryder Goggins made an extraordinary discovery, a message in a bottle written almost 3 decades ago. The note, dated September 5, 1988, was from a 10-year-old boy named Chris from Sacramento, asking the finder to call him and inform him where his message had washed ashore. Though the phone number is now disconnected, the discovery linked two children separated by 27 years, and Ryder and his mother still hope to find the original author of this message. This recovery team discovered a legendary DT-75 tractor, a workhorse of Soviet engineering known for its remarkable reliability. This giant, covered in mud, despite the years it spent slowly sinking into the marsh, retained enough of its legendary durability for the rescue team to believe it can be restored to its former glory. Additionally, the tractor's reputation for its simple mechanics and easy repairs means that this rescued machine could soon come back to life. In a peculiar field near Bangkok Airport lie the unsettling remains of several planes, including the remains of an MD-82 that crashed at Phuket International Airport in 2007. In this unusual airplane graveyard, not only is the ill-fated 1-2 plane found, but also a huge Boeing 747 and several more commercial planes. It was the last discovery of the day. Don't forget to leave a comment and tell us which discovery impressed you the most. And don't forget to hit the like buttons and subscribe. See you in the next video.
Goodbye.